By what name are you known?
There are some who call me Tim.
Hello, I am Harry from the Gamers Watch podcast.
And I am Shaun, also from the Gamers Watch podcast.
And who are we introducing today, Shaun?
It is 20TIMinutes, the one and only.
Enjoy the show.
Love you, Tim.
Love you guys. What's happening, everybody? Episode 32 of 20TIMinutes. I am your host, Tim McCarthy. This is a podcast that focuses on mental health through humor, insight, and personal stories. That introduction was done by good blokes, Harry and Shaun of the Gamers Watch podcast. I'm not sure where they're from. I think they're from Alabama by their accents. So their podcast is a group of friends. They game through the best live service in gaming, Xbox Live Pass. I'm a PlayStation guy, but I love those guys, so I'm glad they did a intro for me. They review, discuss, and play various video games with the lovely accents of the British. Really good guys. I chat with them all the time. Good friends I met through the internets on the Twitters. Speaking of the internets, I'm going to be doing a new thing. I always say I have a Buy Me a Coffee account, which is like something that you do to fund the podcast. Like I give away certain things, or you can buy certain aspects of the podcast for me to do. Like if you give me like $5, I'll draw you a photo and like send it to you. But if you sign up for my subscription for the year, I'm going to start doing live episode recordings because I got a new iPhone 12 and my old iPhone was too busted up, but the camera still works. And I forgot that you can still use it if it's on Wi-Fi. So I'm going to record it on Instagram Live while I'm recording this. So if you sign up for that, I'm going to start that next week. I already got a couple people signed up. So don't request that page if you see it on Instagram, all right? I'm not accepting it until you pay me money. Pay me, and then I'll pay you back. That's what the deal is. So thank you to Haley from Podcast 27 for donating a couple coffees to your boy. I think the Instagram Live would be fun because there was a lot of outtakes before I start recording that I'm embarrassed about. So now you can watch me get embarrassed in live time, and it's great. And now don't forget to go to 20timminutes.com for my merch, sign up for my newsletter, get a bunch of bonus content, yada, yada, yada. 20TIMinutes on the internet. Just type it in Google. You'll find me everywhere. So last week, I talked about mental toughness, and I asked people on Twitter like what they thought about it. I had a lot of good responses. And one of them was the ability to bounce back when faced in adverse situations or how to overcome those tough times. At least that's how I feel. Say you miss the game winner, it's how you come back the next game. I like that a lot because that is mental toughness, because when you get knocked down, you got to chumbawamba and get back up again. And that song is the epitome of mental toughness. And then someone said, being able to be emotionally vulnerable, that takes more strength and courage than anything I can think of. Yeah, I agree. I am very emotional and very vulnerable, which makes me emotionally vulnerable. Yeah, it does take a lot of strength and courage. I would never say that about myself because you know how I am if you listen to this podcast. But yeah, mental toughness is interesting. My wife is very mentally tough, Lindsay. She does not back down. Tom Petty won't back down. But yeah, mental toughness was like a big one to me because I did not have a good day, whatever today is. I was up for like 24 hours because of work, and I can just feel my mania just like catching up to me. And like, I've been like so paranoid lately. I just feel like everyone has like different intentions, like when they talk to me, or like, I'm like just getting like, just not getting like the real deal from people sometimes. I know it's just me and I'm like making things up. And I get like so irritated and I just beat myself down and down. Like I was going to record like when I was in that state earlier, but I was like, yeah, I can't do that. I'll be freaking people out. Yeah, I just had like a bad week. Like I forgot my meds at work. And when I realized I didn't have it, I was like, how am I going to do the rest of this shift? And it's like kind of like a placebo effect. If I didn't realize it, I probably would have been fine. But then I did realize it and I was like, oh, let's see if I can even make it through this day. And I was like trying to think about that like all night. And that's all I could focus on was just not having a nervous breakdown. I've been trying to be more optimistic than pessimistic lately. Just because like it's so easy to be so pessimistic and just like give up on things. And I just having a tough time lately. And today was just like a really tough time. I just like wasn't making sense. I didn't like want to talk to anybody. I've been like tweeting a lot lately and just being like, woe is me. But I feel like I hate those types of people online anyway, because they do it all the time where they're like, when someone says something sad and they're like, what's wrong? I'm like, nothing. I'm good. I felt like that. I felt like it's stupid. But it's like the only thing I can do to like get it out, because of my work hours, I work overnight. So I don't really have a lot of interactions with people on a normal daily basis unless it's on the phone. So then I'm trying to like not be on my phone as much, but like that's pretty much almost like the only entertainment I have. And I don't like reading. I barely know how to read. I know how to say the words, but I don't know how to retain the information. That has always been my vice. Not my vice. That's always been my Achilles heel in school. C's and D's get degrees. So I'm trying to like do more things outdoors by myself and just be able to do things by myself. I'm like too nervous to like go do stuff by myself. I don't know what I'm just so worried about. I'm always just worried for no reason. And I had my therapist today, the one that prescribes me pills. I always forget like what they're called. Like I have my psychiatrist or psychologist I talk to and cry to. And then I have the other guy that I cry to who gives me my pills. So that happened today. And I was just telling him how I feel and everything. And he's very Nigerian, which I love. And his accent is sometimes tough for me to keep up with. We have a great rapport. He's fucking awesome. I love this guy. And the first time I met him, I always like, first impressions are like my favorite, because it really sets the tone if I'm going to like this person or not, because I like to try to be myself. And what that means is I'm very anxious anyway, so I try to make it very hilariously awkward. So I don't know if I ever said this, but I took an ancestry test and I found out I was a bunch of different backgrounds, and one of them was 5% Nigerian. And I was like, oh, where are you from originally? He's like, Nigeria. I was like, hey, I'm part Nigerian. And he just like stared at me like very blankly and he like laughed. I was like, no, look. And I showed him and he was like losing it. So we have a really good rapport. Yeah, I thought that was funny. There was like no need for me to tell him that, but I just knew that if I told him that, it would be funny, even if he didn't laugh. So I don't know if that's even funny to you guys, but it's still funny to me. Yeah, I'm Nigerian too, man. It's like, get the fuck out of here. But I felt good after that. And then I just knew once I went to bed, I'd be a lot better. I was taking like little naps here and there. So I got home from work. I tried to get my oil changed at 8. It was fucking slammed. I actually just realized now I didn't call to make an appointment. I had to go meet somebody real quick. And then I came home, took a little nap, had my therapy appointment. Then I worked with my buddy Craig on the newsletter for the podcast. Craig Lewin from Endurance Swimming. He's been helping me out a lot. Love that dude. So like I had just like, I was trying to do so much stuff like bang, 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 bang. And I was like, and like I knew at the time, like I wasn't even doing well. I was like, I needed to go to sleep and I couldn't cancel. I didn't want to cancel on anybody. I want to cancel on Craig. I just didn't want to do that. So I kind of just fought through it. And like, I was just like miserable all day today. I was just like trying to just like hold my teeth together and just smile the whole time. But yeah, I don't even know where the fuck I'm going with all this. I have a bunch of notes in front of me and one of them says tanks. And I don't know if I was supposed to write thanks, but I wrote tanks and I don't know what to talk about tanks. But yeah, with the whole like Twitter thing and like being on my phone, I realize I'm like fucking like lonely a lot. Like I'm by myself a lot of the times. I'm like talking to myself, not in like a weird way where I'm just like saying things out loud to like keep myself at bay, being like, hey man, just relax. It's cool. And it sucks having that schedule. Like I know I have friends. I know I have friends I can reach out to, but no one's like, hey, you guys want to like do something on like a Monday night? I'm like, nah, dude, I got work at 6 a.m. And it's no one's fault. Like I just like, hey, I get fucking super lonely at times. So I'm on my phone, like texting with people or like chatting with people on Twitter. And I'm like, well, I'm on Twitter trying to promote the podcast, but I'm also fucking not getting anything done in my life or getting things done. So I'm trying to like find that like happy medium of just not being on my fucking phone. And anyone that knows me like personally is like, that's a huge problem with me. And I'm like not trying to be like disrespectful when I'm on it or whatever in front of people. Just like I want to do a million things at once. I want to get everything done at once. Like if you text me right away, I'm usually fucking replying already. It's just like one of those things like I do things that I want to be done to me, which is like fucking stupid. It's like it's taking it from like the do unto others as you want them done to you, but it's like that doesn't apply in just like this type of shit. But yeah, but but then again, I'm like a hypocrite because sometimes I just don't want to talk, because sometimes when I'm like being in those modes and I kind of give like the red flags, people are like, you okay? And I appreciate that. I always appreciate when people check up on me to see if like that. But I would just like, I would much rather be like someone be like, oh, what are you doing? Or like just have a conversation about nothing without me like having to throw out the fucking reel of being like, hey, I'm not doing too hot. And I always say this, it's too, it's like when people say like, oh, you can reach out, and I say it too, but it's fucking super tough. Yeah, I'll call you when I'm fucking crying all day for 24 hours. We'll see how you handle that while you're on your lunch break. But yeah, that's pretty much what I got going on. Being on my phone too much, being fucking lonely, driving myself crazy. But I got the podcast. And this beautiful smile of mine. But no, a lot of people have been reaching out and chatting with me about my moods, which is nice, so they can sense the crazy. People like don't like using that word crazy, like it's bad. Like I think things are crazy, but like I wouldn't call someone crazy. Like I think I'm crazy, but I would never use that word against somebody else. I don't know. People are fucking too soft. This is a fucking raw, fucking mental health podcast that focuses on insights, personal stories, and all that shit. I always forget like my intro. It always sucks. Another thing too that I get like embarrassed about is like the podcast in general. Like my social media game is like, I get it, but like I feel like I post too much, and like I read all these articles like when to post, and I always feel like I'm just being judged. Like I don't know why I think that all the time. Like when I post something, I'm like, oh, fucking someone's like texting somebody and making fun of me, or like they're like, oh, like why is he posting this or that? I don't know. I just feel like people probably think I'm like a fraud sometimes, or like I don't know what I'm talking about, which I kind of don't know what I'm talking about. If I know what I'm talking about, it's that I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm very open about that. And like again, no one probably is. It's like gym anxiety. You go to the gym, you're like, everyone's looking at me. No one gives a flying fuck what you're doing. And I've had that too. I just go in and just throw on some headphones, and I throw on the latest episode of 20TIMinutes while I'm at the gym, and I get right through my set. 20 minutes of hard workouts. But yeah, I just feel like in my head, I just feel like there's probably like a group of people just making fun of me about the podcast, which like I shouldn't care. And I actually don't really care. Like if I found that out, like, oh yeah, you're a fucking loser. But it just like, it keeps me like from like trying to like push myself further with the podcast, or like wanting to try new things. I don't have an example of like what I want to do or try. But I feel like I'm doing all right being this open and vulnerable about everything. So like I am doing pretty good with that aspect. I just like the whole like fucking cell phone being online, trying to get this shit done all by yourself while I edit the fucking episodes and all this shit. That's why like I wait till the last minute, because I force myself. My buddy Ryan, I told him, I was like, no matter what, I was like, I got to record for every episode on Tuesday, because if I miss 1 week, people are going to fucking start dropping off, which they kind of already do, but it's fine. Yeah, it is what it is. But failure is funny. It's like you're afraid of failure, but I don't know why. I posted this on my Monday motivation, which was, if you're afraid of failure, you don't deserve to be successful. Charles Barkley. That's terrible. I love that, because it sounds like it's kind of mean in a way. I don't know if you take it like that, but you should, like, it's okay to be afraid of failure, but you have to get by it to get to that other end. Like we all deserve to be successful, but like me, failure is holding me back because I don't want to fail. I don't want to look stupid. I don't want to let myself down. But I have so many people saying so many nice things about the podcast. I have like all these like great guests that are helping me out networking, like Kara Parrish, the most recent interview I had. She's fucking awesome. She has helped me out so much. She's been a huge supporter. She even supported me on the Buy Me a Coffee thing. So like, come on, join the club. It's actually it's a pretty cool club. I call people my 20TIM members. You can be a 20TIM member. Buy me a coffee today. So yeah, like I do feel like it is getting better with the podcast, and I always love people like text me like, "Oh wow, the podcast is picking up." I'm like, "Is it? Is it?" I'm still in a closet without a window. But that's not like my goal or whatever. It's just my goal is to have fun with this and just reach out to people. I've actually had people randomly email me from the Patriot Ledger, like really cool. I love chatting with people I don't know. I think I like that a lot too. Like obviously I love chatting with my friends and talking about like the old times. But like, yeah, when like a random person I don't know, like is like, hey, I listened to your show, or hey, I really liked it. It's like, dude, that like feels fucking amazing. And that's like one of the goals I've had. And I think in the article of the Patriot Ledger, one of like the biggest goals I want to do is like do like a live show somewhere, like and do like one of these with like mini guests and stuff, and like have it like for like a fundraiser. That's like probably like one of my biggest goals for the podcast. But we'll get there one day. You gotta just swim through the failure to get to the top of success, you know? Put that on a freaking shirt. Yeah, what else? What else I got going on? I don't fucking know. I'm a goddamn mess. I'm wearing my drink water hat. If you can see it, Cody I.O., former guest on the podcast 20TIMinutes. Go take a look at that. Oh, I know what I was going to talk about. I feel like people have experienced this, but they don't know what it is, and I'm going to explain it to you, okay? Let me know if this has happened to you straight up. Have you ever been, like, sitting down on the couch or, like, sitting somewhere and everything seems so far away and you seem like you're so fucking big? You know what I'm talking about? Where, like, say you're on the couch watching the TV and the TV feels like it's like a little box, like, so far away. That's called Alice in Wonderland Syndrome, okay? Which is a great description and name for it, because I was like, that makes so much sense. So I Googled it. It was a .org website, so this must be true. It said Alice in Wonderland Syndrome, AIWS, is a rare neurological disorder characterized by distortions of visual perception, the body image, and the experience of time. People may see things smaller than they are, feel their body, alter in size, or experience any of the syndromes, numerous other syndromes. Dude, I really can't read. I literally can't read. Did you hear me? I feel like I was talking in slow. I felt like I was talking like I was in Alice in Wonderland Syndrome. So this happened to me last night at work when I was like kind of like starting my like fucking manic phase. And I was Googling this while I had it. So it took me forever to read it. And I was talking to Craig earlier, and I was like, dude, do you know what this is? He's like, yeah. And I was like, it's called Alice in Wonderland Syndrome. He's like, oh, dude. He's like, I always just feel like I'm in the last row of my brain. And I was like, dude, that is the perfect description of what that feeling is. Like, you got tickets to your own brain, but you have to go on the way back and just watch everything. I thought that was super interesting. Alice in Wonderland Syndrome. One of my favorite Disney movies of all time. Alice in Wonderland, Lilo and Stitch, and then probably like Aladdin, Lion King. But those are like my top two, Alice in Wonderland. My favorite scene in Alice in Wonderland, I think I've brought this up too, is a little intricate scene when she's very big in the house and she's stuck. And the lizard comes by. And his name's Bill. And he goes up she's like a chimney sweeper. And he goes up there and he freaks out. And then he goes back up to go in there. And she sneezes and he shoots out of the fucking chimney. And the guy goes, well, there goes Bill. I don't know why that always cracks me up. I think it's because my brother's name is Bill. And every time I see him, I say that in my head, or I say that when he's leaving. I go, well, there goes Bill. Oh, Alice in Wonderland's great. Lilo and Stitch is fucking awesome too, though, by the way. Thank you for rocking with me on episode 32 of 20TIMinutes, Kevin McHale. My song suggestion of the week is a great jam it's by Clarence Carter called Strokin. I'm stroking. Yes, I'm stroking. Go listen to that song. It's fucking ridiculous, and the lyrics are kind of dirty, but it's like an old school song. It baffled me when it came up on my suggested songs on Spotify. It was fucking great. And now I was just watching this movie because I always forget like what movies to suggest because I don't really watch movies anymore. So it's usually just what I see on like HBO Now or whatever. So on HBO Now or HBO Max, whatever the fuck they call it now, 40-Year-Old Virgin's back up on that. Great flick. That movie cracks me up. I can't believe it came out in 2005. Boner Jams 03. What a mixtape. I love it so much. Don't forget to download the 20TIMinutes app, please. You can buy merch from my store on there. I do a Monday motivation. I have other things I'm going to be adding to it. I think I'm going to try to add like a vlog on there. Sign up for the 20TIMinutes newsletter. You can go to 20TIMminutes.com to find that. I'm going to have exclusive content on that with guest blog posts from former interviews I've had, future interviews I've had. This week, I have Erin Marie Hogan, actress, mental health advocate, and Twitch streamer. Her interview was so fucking fun and funny. We talked for like an hour, and she is so fucking cool. I got to ask so many questions about like movie magic and like behind the scenes and stuff. She was in a commercial for Conan. She was in. She played a hooker in Ray Donovan. Awesome woman, awesome person. Erin Marie Hogan. Look her up and get ready for her interview this week. I thank you guys so much for listening to 20 Tim Minutes. I love you so much. Go text somebody. Don't ask them how they're doing. Just be like, hey, I was thinking about you. Love you guys so much. And have a good one.
This podcast is not intended to be a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Always seek the advice of your physician or other qualified health provider with any questions you may have regarding a medical condition. If you are feeling suicidal, please dial 911.